Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. We are the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers, and today we're playing Sunderland here in the Barclays Premier League. We're going to win. I actually have no confidence in that. Sunderland is ahead of us in the table, but we are now 15th thanks to a vital 3 points recently won against Stoke City. And our form has been pretty good of late. We're in the sixth round of the FA Cup, and we've won our last 3 matches, which is pretty good because we haven't won 3 matches in a row since last season. So hopefully we're going to pull out a win on the road here. I'm going to talk about genius and madness today. Yesterday was Bobby Fischer's birthday. Bobby Fischer, famous chess prodigy who was also a crazy person and who struggled with mental illness throughout his life and then died. So, what am I going to say about this? This is a big issue for me, not just genius and madness, or the idea that creative geniuses tend to struggle with mental illness, but also the idea that creative geniuses are alcoholics or in some way haunted. And that one must be, you must be haunted if you wish to become a writer or an artist or whatever, and that there are always these miserable people. Well, I'm here to tell you, I know a lot of writers and artists in real life, varying degrees of successful, also varying degrees of crazy, and there is no, by the way, I know that term crazy is offensive to some people. I apologize. I use it casually. And feel a certain entitlement to use it, but that's probably not fair of me. But there is a feeling that there is this sense that mental illness and creativity are linked, and it doesn't really hold up that well to scrutiny. There's a couple famous studies done about this. One was done about a composer who has suffered from manic depression, and his creative output, whether it was different in his manic phases, and it was different in the sense that he made more stuff because he had more energy, but he did not make better stuff. Like on the whole, we've got a score there. French the Lana is not a target man. I mean, I think Ball John Green puts that in the back of the net 10 times out of 10. The quality, so he was just as likely to make something good if, I had a pass there and I missed it. He was just as likely to make something good as he was when he was not in a manic phase or when he was, in feeling well and not dealing with mental illness. There have been a lot of studies that writers in particular, and to a lesser extent other kinds of artists, are much more likely to experience major depression. Sorry to sing that, but I was nervous because Ricardo Bunsen-Berna almost gave up a goal, but instead he made a third-degree Berna. Great slide tackle. Oh, but it's all for naught. Oh, boy. That's a great shot. You should be proud of yourself. All right. Sorry, I shouldn't make fun of the opposition. So there have been studies that people who, writers in particular, are far more likely to suffer from major depression. And I've dealt with depression at times in my life. I've been lucky not to, that it hasn't been that much lately. But I see why that is. I mean, the psychologists think that it's because of the sort of the nature of a writer's worldview being observant, contemplative, quiet, which are things that tend to be associated at times with depression, being the kind of person who mulls things over a lot, and I do think that there's something to that. I have to tell you though, I know a lot of people. I have a lot of friends who write very well and are not depressed, and I certainly don't buy into the notion that it's a prerequisite for writing well, which you would almost think. You've got to finish in that situation, Ball John Green. That's a disappointment. Oh, man. I think that was Ginger Rampage, and he's frustrated with himself for not getting the ball down. So, but it's very much like the old idea that writers had to struggle with alcoholism and or drug abuse, which is ridiculous. Like the sort of poster boy for that is William Faulkner, who was an alcoholic and did drink a lot, but never wrote anything good while he was drinking, and would have long periods of relative sobriety in which he wrote all of his novels. He did not write drunk. No one can, and it doesn't matter if you're a genius or not. It's just not possible to write drunk. Come on. Come on, pass the ball. Oh, that's frustrating. We really need the 3 points here, Swoodly Poopers. Wouldn't that be great to just not even have to worry about relegation, to be like in like 11th or something? Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, I don't want to say we can win the Barclays Premier League, but we did win one game, which felt so good that now I'm getting hopeful. So, come on, guys, just not very talented. All right, so I think it's halftime here. So the takeaways here are that one, you don't have to be mentally ill to be creative. Two, lots of people who are mentally ill are not creative. And three, aside from a link to depression, there aren't very many like solid links to quote unquote creative genius and really good pass there, quote unquote creative genius and mental illness. It's really difficult to find what constitutes genius, obviously. And so that's a problem. I mean, in a science like psychology that tries very hard to be data-driven, but has to. Oh, really? You thought that I didn't want to pass it to French the Lana there? He might have to come out of the game, by the way, if he doesn't start showing up. Oh boy, Berna. And that the notion that you have to experience some measure of torture. I really bought into that when I was a young writer. Like I kind of like went out seeking pain and misery in the hopes that, then it would turn me into a great writer. And really the only thing that turns you into a good writer is working hard on your writing, reading, paying attention to the world, thinking about what constitutes good writing in your opinion, things like that. Not you can do quite a lot of drinking and not make any progress at all on those fronts. So, oh, you seriously didn't think I wanted to pass? I don't think French the Lana is the right guy for this squad right now. I don't think he's where he needs to be. I think he needs to be where Leroy Williamson is, or maybe where Merrick is. Nope, he needs to be where Leroy Williamson is. And it might be. I mean, maybe Leroy Williamson needs to be there. Maybe that's the only change we need to make. I don't know. I think I'm going to bring out Merrick, though, and I'm going to put in Beefstock, just because I like him as a captain. Always have. All right, so there we go. We're making a little change, and we're going to put Leroy Williamson up front because French the Lana is not showing an ability to finish. And Leroy Williamson does. I don't know if you remember this. It has been since last season, but he does score occasionally. So I think people like Bobby Fischer end up getting sort of memorialized as these great geniuses. Oh my gosh! Can someone tell me what I did wrong there? Because all I did was rise up with my beautiful mustachioed forward and put my head on the ball, and I don't understand what happened. So if someone could explain that to me, I would appreciate it. I mean, oh my gosh, we've had so many great opportunities in this game. Oh boy, get back, boys, get back. Remember to get back on D. So I think people like Bobby Fischer end up getting sort of more attention than they otherwise would because they fit into this expectation that we have that geniuses will be crazy. But the truth is, the vast majority of really, really good... Come on, this is getting ridiculous. I mean, Leroy Williamson has thrown some great crosses in there, though, so full points to Leroy. No, oh no. Great job there. Then we give it up for nothing. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We tell ourselves that our geniuses will be drunks, or that our geniuses will be schizophrenic, or that our geniuses will be depressives, and then they are, because we end up paying most of our attention to the geniuses who are drunks or depressives, and not to, for instance, chess players who were as good or possibly even better than Bobby Fischer, who go on to become, Russian politicians, or old cranky statesmen, of which there are lots, particularly among Russian grandmasters. So I want to uncouple these ideas desperately. I want to live in a world in which it is possible, which we embrace the idea of genius. Are we going to bring it back? We're going to bring it back so that I can have my free kick? I'd appreciate that. We got 10 minutes to score here, and this is... the difference between 1 point and 3 points for the Swoodly Poopers right now is just huge. So we need to find a way to win this game. We need a moment of brilliance, which is not the same thing as a moment of mental illness and or alcoholism. So yeah. A lot of people want me to talk about depression on these shows, by the way. That's like the most frequently asked thing that I never talk about. I don't talk about it just because I don't know what to say about it. Like, I mean, have dealt with depression the same way that it's recommended to be dealt with by all professionals everywhere, which is treatment and medication. And so that's been part of my life for a long time, and I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I think it's really difficult to live with depression, and I feel really, really lucky that I've found ways to kind of keep my depression managed. Oh no, Berna, it's 2-on-1. Yeah, but it's a third-degree Berna. Berna, get back. Oh, heroism from the Swindon Swoodly Poopers. True heroism. But yeah, I mean, the great, there are people who really, really struggle to find ways to live with depression and to control their depression. The really great thing, from my perspective, is that there are more possibilities, more research available to us than at any point in human history. So that's very encouraging. I mean, I guess congratulations to the Swoodly Poopers on their 0-0 draw. Wow, great shot of the mustache. At least we got that out of this game. 1 point for the Swoodly Poopers. Just the one. But every point helps on our road to staying in the Premier League, so that next season we can, I don't know, continue to be mid-table. Frankly, with our stadium, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we're ever going to win the Premier League unless I have a dramatic uptick in quality of play. So, I don't know. Some days I don't even know how to move forward. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, friends, best wishes.